Greetings, Hillside family. I hope you're doing well today. I thought today I would do something a little bit different. I thought I would just do a little bit of a check-in and kind of let you know what's going on in my mind and what I'm processing, and really also just seeking your feedback and your opinions on some things as well. First of all, this coronavirus and the quarantines and all the different things, I guess there is a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. We're seeing some phases starting to be implemented, which is encouraging. Hopefully we won't have any huge setbacks, but also some concerns as well. Not really knowing exactly what that means for gathering at the church or some of the other things that we all like to do. Who knows when sports and some of those things will really be back in place. Too many questions yet, but we'll take a step in the right direction. We'll take what we can get, I guess. We don't have much choice. I just got off the phone with our district superintendent, Joey Jennings, and we dialogued a little bit about this coronavirus and church reopening and those things this morning. And we're also going to be doing that later on this week on a district level through Zoom with all the pastors talking about reopening and how to do it and when to do it. And trying to get just recommendations and helpful thoughts regarding all that. I would also let you know that our current board at this church is going to be gathering next Tuesday night to discuss this issue as well. And we'll be laying out all the pros and the cons, and we'll be laying out the conservative start and maybe a non-so-conservative start if we start much later than we'd like. And what things can we start up again? Maybe we can start up small groups in the church before we can start worship services. But we also need to be able to implement some social distancing or some masks or different things to keep us safe while we all are gathered. Also, I think we're committed to using technology throughout the summer, regardless of when we are going to meet and how we're going to meet. So, and if you have thoughts on maybe new ideas that we could do through technology, we're kind of concerned that maybe some of the novelty of this is worn off. You know, it's hard, I think, right now that we kind of get in this stupor or this dead zone where, you know, life just kind of happens and we don't really program our day, at least for some of us, people who don't have as much to do. And there's maybe even a depression that's setting in or just a mental tuning out. Kind of living in that zombie state. And so I'm really curious to know your battles. I'm very curious to know how you're doing. I've been trying to make more phone calls, though I'm not really a phone person. But just wanting to know how this whole thing is affecting you. Not just spiritually, but, you know, economically and, of course, physically, health-wise, and all those different facets of this thing we're facing. I guess I feel like I'm noticing through Facebook and other means that the jokes are starting to disappear. You know, people have thrown out all their coronavirus jokes and the being quarantined and all the funny stuff that you see. And now you're seeing more of these opinions, and you're seeing people's anger come out, and really what are the statistics of us getting coronavirus, and what are really how much chance there is of us dying, and you kind of get all things all over the board, and sometimes it seems very political, sometimes it seems like it's conspiracy theory, sometimes maybe it's just an unfortunate circumstance, and there's a lot of opinions floating around. And I have to admit, I'm starting to change a little bit of my thought process on this as well. And well, I don't know whether it's good or bad that it's changing, but I admit that I'm starting to form some new opinions. But, you know, the truth can be elusive sometimes. And we just need to keep praying and asking God to guide us in all this and to reveal his truth to us. And even if we don't get total certainty from God what the solution is or what the real truth is, to just walk by faith, to just be obedient in walking in his steps regardless of what we really know. And knowing that just he will guide us. He will trust us even if we don't know exactly where we're going. That's what faith is all about. We don't get to know everything all the time. We don't get to know the real truth. And that drives us crazy. But we're not the ones in charge. So, also by the way, so this Sunday sermon, I've been talking lately about how people like to hide their sin. They don't want to talk about it and certainly wouldn't mention it in church or anybody else. And I've kind of made up some examples on my Wednesday or Thursday promo videos for you to watch of people in the church that just made up a character of what they might be hiding. Well, this Sunday we have an actual testimony of somebody who did that, who was in a church and was dealing with something very severe, and church never knew. He never told them. And that person is a part of Hillside today, and you're going to hear that story Sunday morning. So make sure, if you think my sermons are boring, don't just tune out, because you want to hear this person speak and share their story about hiding their sin from the church, and then ultimately now revealing it. Also, this sermon this Sunday will be focusing on Romans 8. Romans 8, which is a good news chapter. It's one of the highlighting chapters of Romans, and it has a lot about great things about the joy and the abundant life that God offers us. And so make sure and check that out as well. And if you do have any thoughts or opinions on this church and how to move forward and how you're doing, has this been a huge struggle for you? Is your spiritual life suffering? Let us know and be honest. I won't share it with anybody else. I really want to know how you're doing and what your thoughts are on how to move forward. Feel free to email them to me or whatever way you think it best to communicate. God's blessing. I know this was a little bit longer today, but just had to share my heart to you. I'm praying for you and really look forward to maybe gathering at least in small groups soon, if nothing else. God's blessings.